All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Gratitude. My name is Christian, and this is the Let's Talk Wrestling portion of Let's Talk Gratitude, where on Mondays I review Friday Night SmackDown, and on Tuesdays I review Monday Night Raw. So today we're gonna be reviewing Monday Night Raw. Before we get into the show, I first want to extend a heartfelt condolence to any Eagles fans out there. Rough year, rough night for you guys last year. Did not expect Tampa Bay to lay the wood down on you guys. But as a Florida boy, can't be more excited for the Bucks. So with all that out of the way, with the condolences said, let's get into last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. We first get a look at Seth Rollins arriving to the arena with his daughter, very adorable daughter. Jinder Mahal arriving to the arena looking like a stud. So that's setting up the main event for tonight, the WWE Championship match between Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal. Show opens, though, with a Cody Rhodes promo. Gives us the what do you want to talk about? And as Cody's walking in, a noticeable sight you see is that it is a very light crowd at the show tonight. That's because in Little Rock there was a ice storm or a snowstorm blizzard that kept a bunch of people out of coming to the show. But pretty lively crowd, even though it was maybe half-filled arena. So pretty impressive for Little Rock with that many people. It gave a nice house show feel to the show with smaller crowd, which I liked. I liked that sort of change up from the show. Cody starts to talk about the Royal Rumble, but is interrupted by Drew McIntyre before he gets anywhere deep. Drew comes out, and it's very cordial, very friendly between the two. Drew talks about their time back in the day when they were in WWE, and then talks about their time outside of WWE. They kind of reminisce for a bit. Drew says that the reason it didn't work out for the both of them the first time in WWE was because they lacked perspective until they left WWE and grew up. Drew talks about the last match he had outside of WWE before coming back was with Cody Rhodes. Drew then encourages Cody by saying, you are going to be the first person in your family to lift up a world championship. And tells Cody that Cody Rhodes is going to finish his story, just not before Drew McIntyre. Drew then says that he's going to win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania and become world champion in front of fans. Cody talks back and says, look, Drew, anybody can win the Royal Rumble. You won the Royal Rumble last year, or a couple years ago. I won the Royal Rumble. Anybody could win the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso could win the Rumble. CM Punk could win the Rumble. He tells Drew, you can't count anybody out of the Royal Rumble. Drew then tries to give Cody Rhodes some advice. Tells Cody Rhodes to just be yourself. To stop being this smiling, politician-like person that he's supposedly faking. He tells Cody, just be the real you. Stop pretending. Cody takes issue with this, tells Drew that this isn't an act, right? That he tells Drew McIntyre that Cody tells Drew that he's grateful for the fans. He's grateful for the opportunity to finish the story. He tells Drew that the big difference between him and Drew is that Drew McIntyre complains every time he fails, and Cody gets back up and tries again. And Drew plays right into what Cody's saying. Drew McIntyre then starts complaining about different things. Complains about Cody Rhodes bringing back Jey Uso. Complains about Cody Rhodes endorsing CM Punk. And then complains about Damian Priest's failed cash-in attempt last week. Drew then drops a really, really good line. Says, "Look, I'm not what's best for business. I am the business." A nod and an ode to Triple H's old phrase, Cody Rhodes then finishes the promo battle between these two by saying, at the Rumble, I'm going to really give you something to complain about, and then leaves Drew with one last sting by saying, by telling Drew, that match you mentioned, your last match before you came back to the WWE, let me ask you a question. Who won that match? And if you don't know, the answer was Cody Rhodes. So yeah, good promo between these two. Drew McIntyre apparently is just looking to pick fights with literally everybody, which is fair because, like, in reality, he could probably end all of them, just because he's so much bigger than everybody. This then leads us to an R-Truth and Damian Priest segment in the back. R-Truth is at a merch stand, counting some money. Damian Priest walks up, asks Truth what he's doing. R-Truth says that he's selling Judgment Day merch, trying to earn his keep. Hands a big wad of cash to Damian Priest. Damian asks what that is. What is this? And R-Truth says it's your cut, and I've got cuts for the rest of the group too. Damian is obviously happy with this and says, "Okay, fine, you can sell the merch, just don't be loud about it because the rest of the group doesn't really like you." Priest then tells R-Truth, don't tag in to the tag match tonight. Tonight's tag match being with R-Truth and The Miz, the Awesome Truth, against Damian Priest and Finn Balor. And you can tell definitely during this segment that Damian Priest, just like the rest of us, can't help but really like R-Truth. He, at the very least, is incredibly amused by R-Truth. So this then leads us to the first match of the night. JD McDonough and Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus DIY Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Johnny and JD open the match. DIY takes the early advantage with a couple of dives to the Judgment Day. This match, I think, really helped remind people that Ciampa and Johnny aren't just really good single stars, but man, they were back in the day a really, really good tag team when they were in NXT. Because the chemistry of these two really shined in this match. I think even more so than the last couple matches they've had. Dom takes back the advantage after punching Johnny in the back of the head. And man, Dominic is such a fun person to hate. He's so good at just being the most hateable person in the room. Johnny then goes for the hot tag after a slingshot spear. But JD takes out Ciampa. Then during the commercial, which I don't know why they did this, during the commercial, Johnny got the hot tag. It wasn't picture in picture. We just came back and Ciampa was doing his comeback after getting the hot tag. So I wish they didn't do that. Hot tags are fun when done really well. But anyway, DIY hit double back suplexes to JD for 2. Then first fun spot of the night was a nice back and forth between the two teams. Ciampa hits a jumping knee to JD. Then JD responds with this beautiful headbutt. Him and Rhea have the two best headbutts in WWE right now. JD hits Ciampa with a headbutt, takes Ciampa out. Johnny hits JD with a super kick. Dom hits Johnny with a super kick, who then bounces off the ropes to flatten Dom with a discus clothesline. So really, really fun spot. Looked really good. Finishing the match looked like JD hitting a moonsault on Tommaso Ciampa. Johnny broke it up for 2. Then Dom sets Johnny up with a backdrop kick onto the ropes for a 619. Johnny catches Dominic mid swing into 619, and while Dominic's leaning on the ropes, Ciampa comes flying in for a knee to sleep Dominic. JD then takes out Johnny for a second, goes for a Devlin side on Ciampa, who reverses it for a jumping DDT. And then that sets up Ciampa and Johnny for the meeting in the middle for 3. DIY get the win. And it's looking like these two guys are next in line for a tag title opportunity against Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Johnny then, after this, on short on WWE's YouTube channel, said something very interesting and kind of echoes what I've been saying about DIY for the last few months. Johnny says the agenda continues, DIY wins. And agenda being the specific word because, as I said, I think last week, Triple H is putting a concerted effort in trying to get these guys over. It's not an accident again. They opened the show with the first match of the show again. But I think it's working. I'm all here for this agenda. I love Johnny. I love DIY. Just not their theme song. I wish they'd change it already. But good match. Good opening match. Exciting. Next, we got a Adam Pearce segment in the back. He sets up a match tonight, a tag team match between Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. And we don't get enough Candice LeRae matches on WWE's programming these days. So I'm really glad that we got a Candice LeRae match tonight. Was a quick match, but I thought it worked really well for these two teams. There's not a lot of rivalry heat between them, so a long match wouldn't have really made sense. But story of the match was Piper and Chelsea keeping Candice out of the match for as long as they could while they're working over Indy Hartwell. Finish of a quick match looked like Indy Hartwell setting up Chelsea Green, like leaning her on the ropes and holding her out. Perfect for a perfect position for Candice LeRae to do her lion salt finish. Although it looked really rough, Candice looked like she only got the knees on Chelsea. So rough landing. Enough to get the 3 though. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell get the win. Next segment, we got Judgment Day in the back in their little headquarters area. Rhea Rip. Before this, Nia Jax video package played, hyping up Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley looks very upset at this and goes and leaves to go address her competition. As Rhea leaves, Damian walks in. They exchange tenuous looks at each other. Again, these two, there's just a crash course coming eventually between those two. Damian creates more tension with the group by defending R-Truth, but pulls out the stack of money that R-Truth gave him. Everybody's like, what in the world is that? And Damian tells him it's his cut of the merch that R-Truth's selling, and that if they want a piece of the pie, that they should go find R-Truth. And that's that segment. Next, we get the return of Gunther to Monday Night Raw. Gunther comes out, talks about last year's Royal Rumble, how Gunther entered number 1, lasted to the last 2 men. Unfortunately, he lost. Says that this year, Gunther's going to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania. He then turns his attention to Ludwig Kaiser, who's in the ring with him. Praises Kaiser for taking out Kofi, and even goes so far as to give Ludwig a hug. I think this is the first Gunther hug that he's given to anybody on screen since he's been in the WWE, whether that's NXT UK, NXT here in America, or Monday Night Raw. This brings out Xavier Woods, who I believe is back from injury. Xavier comes out, very intense. Xavier Woods, by the way, which I liked this version of Xavier. Angry Xavier is just as fun, if not even more so, as fun-loving, exciting Xavier. Xavier comes out and says that he's got a problem with Ludwig Kaiser for taking out Kofi and challenges Kaiser to a match tonight, which we get next. These two first initially brawl on the outside till the ref comes out and starts the match. And this match was just an old-fashioned slugfest. I mean, no real big spots, no real exciting spots other than just two guys beating the utter crap out of each other. Just punches to the face, to the gut, wherever you can land a punch, you land it. The finish of this match looked like the action spilling out to the outside. These two go over towards the announce table. I believe Xavier hit a dive that knocked Kaiser over the announce table to set up another attempt at Kaiser throwing one of the announcer commentators office chairs right in face first into Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods ducks the chair. Kaiser still gets the advantage, sets Woods up on the steel steps to drop kick his head into the steps like he did to Kofi last week. Xavier pops up before Kaiser gets there and hits essentially a cave-in. Cameron Grimes' finisher on to Ludwig Kaiser. And then Xavier sets up Kaiser against the ring post, picks up the steel steps, and attempts to end this man's life by chucking the steel steps into the ring post. Thankfully for Kaiser, he ducks out of the way and runs off into the crowd. So yeah, this is not over between the New Day and Imperium. Next we get a Bronson Reed promo. Very, very quick promo. All Bronson says is that he's going after someone with a championship this year, and that's literally all he says. Kind of an unnecessary promo for Bronson Reed. Bronson or creative just need to figure out what they're doing with the guy. I think there's a lot of talent there, but you just got to figure out what you're doing with him. After the break, we got the setup or the beginnings of an Xavier Woods interview. Byron Saxton comes and asks Xavier why he was so angry. Before Woods could answer, Kaiser attacks Woods in the back, but somebody makes a save for Woods, and it's not one of the New Day. It's actually one of the New Day's biggest rivals. Jey Uso makes a save on Ludwig makes the save for Xavier Woods against Ludwig. Potentially set up maybe another tag team match with Woods and Uso. That'd be fun. Next, we got a very surprising match. And I'll explain why. It was Akira Tozawa versus Ivar. And you hear those two names and you already assume what the match is, right? Because I full on thought this was just going to be a simple squash match. Fair play to WWE for subverting expectations. But the beginning of the match looked like exactly what it was going to be. Tozawa gets a little bit of early offense in before Ivar just absolutely stomps this guy, hits him with a big boot, then hits him with a Tour of the Islands, which I believe is Jeff Cobb's either finish or one of his signatures. Ivar then sets up Akira for the moonsault, goes up to the top ropes, but Maxime Dupree distracts Ivar while he's on the top, which allows Akira Tozawa to get a sunset flip powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. Crowd goes crazy. Massive pop for Akira getting that win. Unfortunately, the excitement didn't last long because after the match, Ivar and Valhalla both squash Maxine and Akira. Ivar eventually hitting the moonsault on Akira, which just looks devastating. That big a dude hitting Akira Tozawa with a moonsault going flying for that high. Crazy. But this sets up two matches for next week. Because in the back, we got Alpha Academy and the Creed brothers consoling both Maxine and Akira Tozawa. Ivy Nile steps in, says she's going to go talk to Adam Pearce because Valhalla needs to pay for what she did. Then Chad Gable says that he's going to deal with Ivar next week, and these two matches were then later made official. Next week it'll be Ivy Nile versus Valhalla and Chad Gable versus Ivar. Looking forward to that Chad Gable-Ivar match. It's going to be a really good match, I'm sure. Next, we got a Rhea Ripley promo. She came out, and man, she's so good. She's so good, so believable, so easy to want to root for, even as a bad guy. Rhea Ripley tells whoever is going to win the Royal Rumble to pick any other champion because they'll just waste their time getting beat up by Rhea Bloody Ripley at WrestleMania. This brings out, however, Becky Lynch, who really bigs up Rhea Ripley, even going as so far to say that Rhea Ripley might be better than Becky. But Becky says that she has to win the Royal Rumble and challenge Rhea Ripley, beat her at WrestleMania for the championship to prove that Rhea isn't better than her. I would be shocked if this isn't the Mania match for Rhea Ripley. I don't know who else on the roster is on Rhea's level where that would be an exciting match. Becky's really the only one I can see. The only other person that's could even be close to that level would be Shayna, but they would have to do a lot of work to make her a credible threat again. Because, and we'll talk about Shayna a little bit later because she had a match. But Rhea ends the promo by saying that she hopes Becky wins the Rumble, and Rhea then leaves, which then sets up the next match of the night: Awesome Truth versus the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor. And again, R-Truth just being a national treasure to all of us. The Miz comes out first, but then we cut straight to commercial. Afterwards, the Judgment Day come out, and out behind the Judgment Day was R-Truth just following them from like maybe 10 feet behind him. So they didn't know he was there. After Damian Priest and Finn Balor got in the ring and posed to the crowd with their titles, R-Truth comes up behind them, puts his arm around them, and Finn Balor's like, "What in the world are you doing? You're not on our side." And Damian Priest is just amused by the guy. So I like this dynamic between R-Truth and the Judgment Day. Match starts with Finn Balor and R-Truth starting the match. Miz in this match is just kind of there. This is more about R-Truth and the Judgment Day interacting with each other. Finn obviously attacks R-Truth because Finn does not give a care about R-Truth. But this leads to R-Truth defending himself and punching Finn Balor in the face, and then being incredibly apologetic about it, telling Finn, I'm sorry, my bad. Then more stuff happens. Damian Priest eventually gets tagged in with R-Truth in the ring, and you can definitely tell that Damian does not want to hurt R-Truth. Whether he actually likes him or he's just amused by him, he doesn't want to put his hands on him. Unfortunately for R-Truth, madness ensues and ends up hitting Damian Priest. Damian then has about enough with R-Truth, hits South of Heaven on R-Truth, rolls out of the ring so Finn can get the 1, 2, 3. But you can kind of tell Damian in the background isn't happy with what he had to do. So we'll see where this leads, whether it's more tension building because Damian is too friendly with R-Truth, or they just fully discard R-Truth altogether and just become bigger heels. Either way, I'm looking forward to what's coming with these guys. Next, we had another tag match: Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler versus Tegan Nox and Natalya. Quick match. This was right before the main event, so it kind of had to be a little quick, so it didn't take up time with the world title match. I will say, I miss NXT Shayna Baszler very badly. I'm not a huge fan of this buddy Shayna Baszler. I much preferred her when she had no friends and just beat people up and won championships, rather than her teaming up with a bunch of different people. But it is what it is. Who I do like a lot is Tegan Nox. Man, she's so believable. She has a lot of Sami Zayn in her, and I think if she can just stay healthy, man, she's going to be really, really big. Finish of this match looked like Shayna Baszler hitting the Karafuda clutch on Natalya. Natalya tried to do that thing where you walk up the ropes and flip to pin your opponent while they've got the sleeper on you. Shayna wiggles out of that to keep the Karafuda clutch on, and Natalya eventually taps out. Quick match. Was glad I saw Tegan, but that's that. Which then leads us to the main event of the night. Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jinder Mahal comes out with Indus Veer Mahan, and Sangha. I will say I wanted to like this match more than I did. The finish of this match is probably the best part of it, but the rest of it can take or leave it. Alright, so this match starts with these two guys going to the outside early. Jinder tries to toss Seth into the post, but eats the post himself, and then catches flying Seth Rollins' knee. At this point, Damian Priest walks out to be just a threat with his briefcase, his Money in the Bank briefcase. Back inside the ring, though, Rollins muscles up Jinder Mahal for a Falcon Arrow. It looked really, really impressive. You don't realize how much bigger Jinder Mahal is to Seth Rollins until this point, really, where he does this Falcon Arrow, and he really had to muscle up old Jinder. The match picked up, though, after Seth Rollins hit a springboard swanton and a lion salt on a Jinder. It looked like after the lion salt, Seth really did tweak his knee, like legitimately. It could look like maybe it could have been a hyperextension, or he just hit the mat really hard with his knee. But Rollins hits then a pedigree for two. Indus put Jinder Mahal's foot on the rope to break it up. Rollins then dives to the outside with a crossbody to take out one of the members of Indus, comes back in to set up for a frog splash, which he misses. And then Damian Priest stands up from sitting by commentary, teasing that he's going to cash in. But who's coming out to stop Damian Priest but Drew McIntyre, who's still mad that Damian Priest got involved in the championship match at day one. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre fight all the way to the back, taking them out of the match. This allows Jinder Mahal to catch the advantage, hitting Seth with a gut buster. Then Indus get involved. The finish looked like Veer Mahan distracting the ref so that Sangha can get a chair to Jinder Mahal. Seth breaks it up, knocks down Jinder, then goes after Veer, who then hits Seth Rollins with Damian Priest's briefcase, which he left while the ref was distracted to set up for Jinder Mahal's Koloss. Jinder hits the Koloss. Seth kicks out for a surprise near fall, which the crowd comes alive for. Indus get up on the apron, get very upset, and then get tossed from the arena. Jinder Mahal goes for another Koloss. Seth counters it with the curb stomp for 3. Really good finish, fun finish, exciting. Really picked up right when Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre got involved. But I do wish that the match had been a bit longer. But, good for Jinder. Glad Jinder got this opportunity to get back on television. Like I said last week, I really liked Jinder. I think if he was on the show more consistently, I think he'd just be an improvement to the show. But that was the main event. That was the end of the night. Good show overall. What I thought last week was a little better, but it was a fun show still overall. Had some really good stuff. R-Truth is great. The Judgment Day are great. Rhea's great. And yeah, So if you stuck around this long, I first want to thank you for watching this. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. Royal Rumble is in less than like a week and a half. Who do you have winning the Royal Rumble? Go ahead and leave that in the comments below. Again, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on Friday for a fun Cyberpunk video. Later, guys.